It's really a great experience for me to take a deep look into this topic. And also I seek the blessings of all assembled devotees so that I can speak something what I heard from our previous acharyas and what I learned from the scriptures as it is. So I'm seeking all your blessings so that right words will come on right time through me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chashkuralimitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pakshata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Please chant with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today's topic is why is life problematic, and how to discover real happiness. So while I was contemplating on this topic, I was just thinking, how can I introduce this topic? So I was just praying. So there's something came to my mind. Hope you all like it. So this is something came to my mind. Most of you aware about this game. This is actual indoor game called, like here in Western side, they call like a snakes and ladders. In the back in India, while I was growing, I used to play this game too, was with my friends and cousins during the vacation times and all. So much fascinating. I used to like this game so much. But as a kid, I was never paid much attention. But I was later point of time recently, I was just just looking into it. It is so linked to our spiritual journey actually. Even if you see this game also called moksha patam. Patam means like the image or picture. So moksha means liberation, and it has a different names. So Vaikunta patam or things like that. So eventually, if you see on the top, you see the Lord Vishnu. So how we can reach him? And here we are at the point 1, and you go through this, that, and then we see this. There are some snakes, some ladders. And if you closely observe that this snakes, wherever the snake's head starts, they are kind of offenses, and the ladders where it starts is like some discipline or piety or things like that. So in the same way, in our spiritual journey too, uh, we need to take advantage of some ladders so that we can go up, and also make sure that aware about that snakes too, because that will make us fall down. One may say, yeah, I can just go each step, step by step. But you see that game exactly, if you take each step, you never make to the Vaikunta, you never make to go home back to Godhead, because there are the snakes comes and they will make you down. So there you need to make some gems somewhere too, like you need to do some workout. Anyway, in today's discussion, in relation to our topic, why the life is problematic and how to discover real happiness. So we are going to touch upon the ladder parts and also some snake parts too, like what is pulling us down. So if you see this pyramid. 1 minute, actually. If you see this pyramid, you see that there is a one triangle is there in middle, and there is a three triangles are there on the around that middle triangle. So this is kind of a holistic picture. The holistic stands for a H for Henry, not a W, because the holistic as the definition is like a it's a kind of a it's a interlinked components, things like that. It's a full picture. The inside that's you see that's the spiritual entity, spiritual, that's the actual reality, that's the spiritual. And around that on the outer surface you see the body, mental and intellectual. They are the subtle, like a subtle body we call, and they are the coverings which are covering who we really are. So basically that inside that is called as a heart, because if you see heart is so important in a human body. I mean, for that modern, not only human body, anything like that's why the people use the, even when they compare some missions or something, heart of the, the heart of this car is an engine, something like that, because the heart is something which will drives everything. Even the Ayurvedic doctor also, first they take the pulse and they will decide what medicines to give and they will diagnose. For that matter, even the modern doctors, so they always carry stethoscopes so that they can check the heartbeat and then they take their decisions. So that's what we are like. That's important component. That's the spirituality is like a heart. It's like as I mentioned, it has a three coverings: body, mental, and intellectual. The foundation of this mental and intellectual and bodily happiness is our actually the spiritual. It depends on the spirituality. So our material well-being, it depends on the how spiritual, how we are spiritually inclined, how we are making best use of spiritual well-being so that it will animate outwardly. Like in other words, with spiritual well-being, the material well-being follow like a shadow. Like a shadow follows the object, right? That casts the shadow. And if you try to move the shadow without moving the object that casting the shadow, that shadow is not going to move, right? So we want a spiritual well-being and we want the spiritual happiness, but there is a problem because we have forgotten who we are, and we are covered by the illusion space called Maya. So this is a beautiful artistic picture of the Maya. So Maya moves the everything in the material world. And this material world orchestrated by these three modes. The three modes of material nature, most of you aware. So like a mode of passion, mode of ignorance, mode of goodness. So these are three guna avatars, expansions of the original person Krishna, Adi Purusha. So last Sunday we learned from Her Grace Nandini Radha Mataji. She nicely explained about the different incarnations, and we heard about this. We learned about this guna avatars as well. So these three modes of material nature, which are like a intrinsic to the how Maya works. So Maya works with the like has a with the help of these three modes. Maya, that's the female figure. She's the illusory energy. Maya covers us. So that is the body, mental, and intellectual parts of our life that are moved by these modes of nature. It covers who we really are. I'm sorry, I'm a bit little philosophical or something, but it is better to touch upon like go from the kind of from the spiritual science perspective, and then we can also touch upon some practical aspects as well, so that way we can see the full picture. Okay, so we still we still are, but we are covered. We are covered by who we really are. So this is the ladder part that I was talking about. So there are so many ladders we see, but this is one of the ladder part, the discovering who we really are. So why life is problematic and why I'm not finding my real happiness? Because we covered by the illusion. The illusion conception of who we are not makes our life problematic. If we can remove that illusory conception, then we can find who we are. And when we find who we are, then there is a real happiness comes. But if we don't find who we are, then we rule by this more this illusory conception of life, these three modes, and then our life becomes problematic. So you can say, yeah, so these are not useful. Just dispel them, dispel the illusory energy, dispel the Maya. But is it easy? So Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mamamaya Durataya Mamayevaye Prapatyante Mayam Yeta Tarantite. So the three modes of material nature are the agents through which Maya covers the living entities. The body, mind, and material intelligence, and we identify with one of them or combination of them too. And we think that is what we are. And that illusion covers who we really are. And it is the illusory energy of Lord, so it is so strong. But Lord also gave the solution: if you surrender unto me, so you can easily overcome that. So just little Prabhupada story in this context. Reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, why you come to USA at this old age? There might be some message to deliver. And what is that? Prabhupada said, know yourself. That's it. Just single, like a 2 words, single phrase, know yourself. So let's unpack it. Actually, what exactly Prabhupada means here, the self. So self does not exist separate from the super self, super soul. And the self also does not exist separate from the world in which we are living in. Right? So he gave the full picture, like you know yourself. That does not mean just you are a spirit soul, but also you know that there is a super soul, Krishna, your connection to that, and also you are also you are also anchored by these 3 modes. 3 modes are there. How you can live your life. That's a full picture, not only just of knowledge. It is a full picture. No self means you are a spirit soul, your connection with super soul and Krishna, and you have these coverings, and these modes are working on you, how you can make best use of it, and how you can move on. That's a full picture of self. So the 3 modes, the 3 body, mind, intelligent, that pyramid structure we saw, they are the coverings, and that is not who we are. Okay, then it's not good, then let it throw and let's garbage it or something. They are not working out with me. I mean, like they are always pulling me. So, but that won't work that way, right? It is something that is around us, and somehow we have to learn to live with them, and somehow we need to learn how we can deal with it and progress in our life spiritually, of course. But we have to deal with in a harmonious way with the laws of God, right? That's what the theism means actually. The respectful to the God and the respectful to the things and the creations, living entities, all which are all created by the Lord and which are belongs to the God. So that's actually the 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 theism. Like that is means that that's how we have to live, God centric. But this illusory energy that makes the people run after an illusory sense of happiness. So it's like a couplet, like a aham means I, and mama, mine. I and mine. So whole world is centered around this thing. The misconception of that I, which is discovered by identifying ourselves with the body, mind, or intelligence, and that leads to the misconception of a mind too. Like I am this body, whatever produces from this body is mine. So my work is mine, and the fruits of my work is mine, and what the fruits of the work can acquire from me is also mine. My home, my children, my mortgage, etc., etc. That list goes on. So finding happiness by bringing the senses in contact with mind, that is what happiness, according to the dictates of the Maya, according to the definition of Maya Devi definition, happiness is, I can find my happiness by bringing my senses in contact with mind. That is my happiness. That is the definition of the happiness as per the Maya Devi. Happiness, it's also touched upon the Bhagavad Gita 5.22. Yehi yes samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya yevate. Maya says that you get happiness by contacting senses with the objects of senses. But in reality, that won't bring happiness. So the sansparsha, so it's saying sparsha means touch. By touching the senses with the sense objects, bhoga means enjoyment. And then, but actually in reality, dukkha means sorrow. Yonaya means that taking birth. But I always see the sorrow. I thought, by contacting my senses with sense objects, then I will get happiness. But actually, Krishna is saying that always brings the sorrow. That is why the life is problematic. An expectation of happiness by bringing the senses with the sense objects, it does not really bring happiness. No matter how much you try to fix it, but it's not possible. That's why life is problematic. So let's explore further on this subject, like from the Vedic scriptures perspective. So there is a called Uddhava Gita. So that is, we have a Bhagavad Gita, great Bhagavad Gita. That is the conversation between the Lord Krishna and Arjuna. In the same way, Uddhava is also friend of Krishna. So there is a Uddhava Gita section also there in Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's say what Krishna is saying here. A conditioned soul undergoes a great trouble to obtain a little happiness, little happiness, after struggling in the material life, which is full of hardship and hypocrisy. One may receive a little sense gratification. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 8, Verse 1. See that little carrot there, and that little happiness keep the people keep going on. It is not really happiness. It is a flickering. It is a temporary. It is not eternal. The sense gratification happiness is very limited and little, and more importantly, it's an illusory. It's all illusory. It's not only like you see now and you don't, and it's a reflection of the real thing. That is a real happiness. The real happiness is we cannot see in the reflection. We can see real happiness in real thing. It is very easy to understand. Suppose if I hold an apple in one hand and in other hand I have a mirror. So we can look at the reflection and we can say that so this is the apple, but there is no substance in the reflection of the apple in that mirror. So we won't get any nourishment from the reflection of the apple in that mirror because it's a insubstantial. There is no substance. We can get the nourishment from the apple, from the real apple, but not from the reflection of the apple. So similarly, the sense gratification, that carrot in front of the donkey, it looks like a happiness. And the people misinterpret that reflection of the apple is the real happiness. We in general, in reflection, there is no substance. So it is, and besides that, it is a limited and temporary. And we always see that, it's like a, now you see, now you don't. I don't know, it's gone. Like a nothing is, maybe that even distress to our happiness, like a winter and summer seasons goes on. So in the Sanskrit language, there is a word is there, asat. That's opposite word to the sat. So asat means that is never bring happiness, neither in the present nor in the future. So we can say real is real, fake is fake, right? Reflection is never going to become an apple, no? So let's continue further explore in this another verse. So this is the verse from the Uddhava Gita as well. So this is the picture of all complex network of the roots of the tree on the bottom, and there is a sword. It got the one purpose actually. So the network of material desires is created when one falsely thinks that he can establish himself permanently in the material world. No way, we cannot stay in this material world permanently. We have to move on. It's not possible to stay here permanently. This binding network should be cut by the sword of detachment. That is the ladder part. That is a ladder aspect, that the sword of detachment. Otherwise, one will be forced to wander in this illusory network of Maya with no understanding of liberated life on the spiritual platform. In the lower down, you see the that sword, right? Very sharp sword. So that sword of detachment, and that detachment is made possible only by knowledge. So just one personal note, when I was in high school, so we used to have a social studies. So that social studies got a three parts. So one is geography, history, and economics. I like the history because it has the interesting stuff like culture, civilization, world war, etc., etc. So I remember I studied about the Buddhism in that high school. I still remember one core essential teaching of Buddhism. And today morning also I had a very quick conversation with Zong Prabhu just to validate what I learned. The root cause of suffering. This is essential teaching of Buddhism. The root cause of suffering is desire. The root cause of suffering is desire. And the way to overcome the suffering is stop desiring. And the way to stop desire is you become a monk or Buddhist and you do the meditation by aiming at that one target. What is that? Stop desiring. And when you stop desiring, then you become a free from the suffering. And the goal and the beyond the suffering is mindfulness. Like it's a very buzzword in the today's world, in especially in corporate world too. Like a mindfulness, it's called mindful manager, mindful thinking. um, Even I saw some advertisements like a tasty and mindful burger. um, Maybe Jayadrupadi Mataji has to think about something like that, mindful burger to market. So, but anyway, so mindful is kind of a, become very popular nowadays. It's a marketing phrase. Even as a employee, we need to take some, internal courses on time to time basis. Courses on the mindfulness is one of them. So this is a known phrase that's actually the origin is from the Buddhism. So what is the purpose of mindfulness? To be at the moment, because the Buddhism teaching says that all there is a moment, the past is gone, future hasn't happened, and all there is a moment. So be in the moment. Be in the moment. So what happens if you are in the moment? Then you are a mindful. The question is, what is on the other side of that stay in the moment? So it'll mean to say what is that beyond that? So there is nothing, nothingness, or kind of a nirvana. That's called like a void. So this is the goal of Buddhism, and there are some steps how to achieve this. And you will understand why I'm talking about this thing. Now we can see from the lens of the Vedic scripture, right? So teaching of Vedic is different. That's what you see in this picture. So the teachings of Vedas says that the root cause of suffering is ignorance, not desire. Ignorance influences the desire of the soul into ignorance desire. So ignorant desire is the covering. So this is most important thing that we all should understand. Desire is not the problem. At least I can talk to myself. We always struck into this. Desire is not the problem. Ignorance is the problem. That's the root cause of suffering. That's what our Vedas are teaching. That's a wisdom, Vedic wisdom. So, and from the ignorant desires comes ignorance activity. Ignorant activity causes the suffering. So that the way to become a free from the suffering is to remove the ignorance. So this is another ladder part. So you see that sword, right? That in the picture. So that is getting rid of the binding network of this material existence. So let us read again. The network of material desire is created when one falsely thinks that he can establish himself permanently in the material world. We cannot stay here permanently in material world. And we are the souls and permanently existing, but the soul does not permanently exist in the material world. If we try to make the material world as a permanent place of happiness, that's foolish. And it creates the whole network of material desires, a complex network. And that makes our life more complex, more problematic. And this binding of the network should be cut by the sword of detachment, or we can also say the knowledge, because the knowledge that brings the detachment. So simple metaphor to understand this. Suppose there is a light and there is a darkness. Which is the stronger, light or darkness? Very simple. Light is stronger. Darkness cannot stand when there is where there is a light. This is a very classic example Srila Prabhupada always gives. So Which is stronger, knowledge or ignorance? It's obvious. It's a knowledge. Knowledge is a stronger. Knowledge destroys the ignorance. And when the ignorance is destroyed, the image we saw before, Maya, and the three modes will be eliminated. Well, it won't be eliminated quickly, but gradually. Gradually it happens. Like, as the sun starts rising, the darkness gradually dissipates, right? It's like that. It's a gradual process. But once the knowledge kicks in, ignorance will dissipates. So knowledge is not like like a hard drive. You can get something, you can install in your brain or something. That's not the knowledge. That is material. That's not the knowledge. That is a material knowledge. But spiritual knowledge is already exist within us. It will be discovered or revived, or it's come into the surface once the ignorance is removed. The influence of ignorance on the soul leads to the ignorant desires, and that ignorant desires makes the whole network of that material existence. And we, with the sword of knowledge or detachment, the soul becomes uncovered and the real happiness is discovered. This is a ladder part from the game of snakes and ladders. It's a summary of this, and we can still explore the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Material desire is undoubtedly the cause of the greatest unhappiness, and freedom from such desire is the cause of greatest happiness. So if you see that that slide, the bird is flying towards Krishna, and that the door is open, the cage door is open. The bird is flying towards Krishna. Back to our main point of discussion, like why the life is problematic. Because we are in this cage or a prison or in an illusory space, consisting of dealing with these three modes. We don't know how to deal, and the seeking the fulfillment of desire in an ignorant way. So the root of ignorance is what? Guess what? It's ignoring the Krishna. So we can simply understand with this metaphor. There is a sun. When we look towards the sun, what we see? The light. So, and then if I turn back, so what I see? The shadow, right? So all we need to do, turn towards the light, and then the shadow will be gone. I mean, shadow is still there, but it is behind us, and it's still existing. It is still existing, but it is not covering our vision, or it's not covering our happiness, or it's not covering the desires such that they are ignorant, which cause the ignorant activities, and that's that in turn causes suffering, and that leads to makes our life problematic. So it is a simple, just turn towards the light, turn towards the Krishna, and ignorance will subside. So turning towards Krishna is the yoga. That's the latter part. In Bhagavad Gita 10.11, Lord says, Tesham evanu kampartam aham agnana jam tamaha nashyami atma bhavasto gnana deepena basvata. Nashyami means dispel. What he dispels? Agnana. Agnana means ignorance. And where is that ignorance? Where is that? That's Atma Bhavasto, means that dwelling in the hearts. And with what? Gnana Deepena Basvata means shining lamp of the knowledge. But that's a sword. So this knowledge is a causeless knowledge. This is the causeless knowledge. This is awakens. It opens the bhakti devotional service. That's why called ahetukam. Hetu means the reason, but ahetukam, without reason, without causeless. With causeless, we always say causeless mercy, right? Causeless knowledge awakens with the bhakti or devotional service. One more verse from Bhagavad Gita. A liberated person is not attracted to the material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 21. So this is real happiness. His Grace Pankaja Angri Prabhu, recently he left this world. He just he dedicated whole life for Srila Prabhupada service. And we can, I just thought about just dedicate this slide for him because he's a perfect example. For a self-realized soul person. So sense gratification happiness is like now you see, now you don't. It's like a illusory. It's limited in time. We already read the characteristics of that illusory the happiness which we get out of sense gratification. It's like illusory. It's a limited in time. It is there, not there, and it is limited in the quantity. And like that little carrot the hanging in front of the donkey. So no matter how much over the donkey moves forward, the distance between the donkey and the carrot is always same. In one of the celebrated Vaishnava bhajans, Bhajahu Remana, Sri Nandana, in that second verse, Bifala Sevenu Kripana Durajana Chapala Sukha Laba Lagire. So the material happiness described as a Chapala Sukha. Chapala means it's a fraction of flickering. So flickering itself is just like that, and the fraction of flickering means you can imagine. So that's how our acharyas define the happiness. That so-called happiness that we derive from sense gratification is like that. It is just a fraction of flickering. Real happiness is not like that. Real happiness is like a ocean of bliss, and it is sustainable, and it is natural, and is already there. It is just need to be awakened by the knowledge, sword of knowledge, or lamp of knowledge. So strive to connect with who we are, brings the real happiness, real liberated happiness. The happiness is commonly not of this physical, like a senses contacting with objects, and you feel very nice, very good, very tasty, something like that. You feel that. So that's the not real happiness. Whatever that object is, like a tongue or eyes or touch, you feel like so nice. And I mean that applies to the even distressful also. Something is gone. God, it's gone. Brain is gone or something. So that's not the real happiness. On the other hand, the liberated souls also have the senses, their senses are used in contact with the relation to the Krishna, or in relation to the source of everything. So one should connect the senses with the objects of senses and use them in the service of master of his senses. One should connect the senses with the objects of the senses and use them in the service of master of the senses. Rishikesha Shevanam, nectar of devotion. So that is a path of perfection. That's a ladder. So basically, we are just unpacking what is sense gratification, and then what is how the sense gratification differentiates from the real the how the senses and sense objects link to the happiness, and then how the senses and sense objects should be used so that we can derive real happiness. How the liberated souls use these senses and sense objects. So that's what we are discovering here. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. One should use the senses with the objects of senses and use them in the service of master of the senses. Krishna is called Rishikesha. He's a master of senses, right? So little story. Yesterday we went to New York Rath Yatra. Very wonderful celebrations after 1 year waiting. So 2 years actually. Yeah. While coming from there, myself and Madhav was just talking. So we saw some things. Some things are happening there, like we were just sharing. Like someone is someone is kind of uh, promoting Christianity or and things like that. And then I also see some person showing the placard saying that, yeah, this is a cult, don't join this cult, things like that. We saw that when we were just thinking ourselves that, there are kind of, some people are really envious. They don't want to be, they cannot sustain when they see the people are happy. When you see that in ladder game, snake and ladder game, there is a cruel is one of the square. When you hit there, you'll go down. But anyway, long story short, we were thinking that this is this is not favorable, not anukulyena Krishna anushelanam. This is not favorable to Krishna consciousness. Yeah, it's an amazing thing to talk about the Lord Jesus and the things like that. But the mood should be proper. It should not be the negative spirit. So anyway, so these are the very, very important things. That is that part, like a body, intellectual and mind. So when we act from that platform, it never brings a real happiness, because you are not working from that internal triangle component. You are still working from the outside surface. So that never brings the happiness. Anyway, that's also important. Like when we are working, we need to work from that platform, then you can access the real happiness. So this is the path of perfection. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. Use the senses in the service of master of the senses. Suppose if the connection with the everything, if the connection with everything is covered by Maya or illusion, senses are still going to act and perceive something and interpret that as a happiness, because we are all covered by illusion. And why we are illusion? Because of ignorance. And our ignorance is ignoring Krishna. And if the real happiness or real contentment is not there, whatever we experience is a problematic. It's like we go from one expectation to another expectation, another expectation. We see that bird, Bhagavad Gita explained, bird flying from one tree to another tree, keep flying. Just like a donkey chasing the carrot, the carrot on the stick hanging in front of his nose, and every time the donkey takes a step forward towards the carrot, towards the carrot. The carrot is the same distance away, but poor donkey always thinks that, oh, one day I'm going to get carrot. It never get carrot because that's illusion. Happiness never happens that way. So isn't that true, right? Just think about it. Just just put it 10 seconds or some thought. Think about it. There is always anticipation of happiness, but when the real happiness on the physical plane or mental plane, it's not possible. It's always like, now you see, now you don't. We can remember some. We're all practicing devotees. We can just think about it. Some activities which we did from the, at least not 100%, but at least from that platform, how much fulfillment that gives to our heart, to the self. That's real. That's a sat. We all know that flickering mind and something, now something, and then next moment something else, and it is ever changing. This is not the position of real happiness. Real happiness is permanent and not a temporary, and it's not reflection of a real thing. That's another punch line. It's not a reflection of real thing. The sense gratification happiness which we always experience, that is a reflection. Reflection of apple never gives us nourishment. Reflection of the apple is just reflection. That is not a real apple. Another important point, the intelligence. We like to use our intelligence to discriminate the things and understand the things better. Like in this world, the intelligence, the IQ call, right, is a very valued in our current modern world. What does the IQ does? It just help us in differentiating one thing from another. But truly, the real intelligence is to understand who you are and what illusion is and what you are not, and you fix in who you are. That's a real intelligence definition. Then we see the world from the different perspective. That's another latter part. This another verse from Bhagavad Gita. See the self by the pure mind and release and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in the boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of the greatest difficulty. This is indeed a actual freedom from the all miseries arising from the material contact. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 22-23. Why is life problematic? Due to the material contact and also consciousness of trying to be the enjoyer of that matter, right? Some sparsha ja bhoga. So I want to enjoy. Bhoga, enjoy. So the idea of real happiness is, as we've seen in this picture drawn by His Holiness Satsvarup Maharaj. So that's the picture. And then that inside that Lord Krishna, there is something I added, but the picture was drawn by Satsvarup Maharaj. So beautiful picture. If you see that picture, that devotee is completely absorbed. Completely absorbed. That devotee sees the Supreme Lord within, and he sees himself as a spirit, soul as well. He sees the Supreme Lord within, and also he sees himself also as a self, spirit, soul. That skinny guy we saw in the pyramid structure. So he also see the super. So he also see himself as a soul, and also he see the super soul as well. So it's given in the narration that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that Narada Muni in his previous life saw that, and then he never departs from that position. He always stayed there. So another aspect of for why the life is problematic is that in general people don't have a sense of connection with the Supreme, right? Who is the source of everyone and everything. So this is something. Now I'm talking little different from the scriptures. Like people never connected to the sense of spirituality and sense of Supreme, who is the owner of everything. So what happens with that? Who is the source of everything, but they don't have a connection. So they think that whatever they see is meant for their own enjoyment, and that leads to the disruption of the nature, and we see everything around in disharmony, whatever you name it. So then with that abuse of nature and the disharmony, there is a reaction from the mother nature, and in the form of the problems and difficulties that been escalated, as we see what is going on in the world now. Whatnot, pandemic or cyclone, or what is that called, um, uh, global warming, etc., etc. So this is a macro picture. Why our lives become problematic? Because we abuse the mother nature, and then we don't have this sense of connection, personal connection to the Lord. So with that, we see whatever I see around, so they are mean for my sense enjoyment, but there is not. So that's the starting point. It's a very big topic, but that leads to that's also very wider aspect why the life becomes problematic, not unusual as a society, as a countryman, or it's a big picture. So that's also one of the reason. So I will, it's 8:30, Prabhuji. There's 3 more slides are there. Maybe I will take maybe another, I will wrap up in another 5 to 6 minutes. Is that okay, Prabhuji?
Sure, Prabhu, sure, please.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So nowadays we all looking for hacks, right? So hacks means, so something you want, you can do with a shortcut, things like that. Hackathon, people also do the hackathons in corporate. Okay, so there's some phrase I came up with, like a go for God. So let's see what exactly stands for. So if you see the first G stands for gratitude. So now I am touching some practical applications at what we can do easily, anywhere, anytime, without any um, reservations or anything anyone can do. So let's explore a little bit on that part. So there's a one university, they conducted some research. They called upon some group of people which least happiness code. I mean, they were never happy. So, and then they asked them, uh, um, just think about a one person in your life who influenced you, and they did something better. You still you can look upon and appreciate. And then they asked, then write about that person in 2 lines, whatever you think, maybe poem or your appreciation or gratitude, whatever. And then they asked these people to call this person to whom they are feel gratitude. Imagine what happened. When they started speaking to them, people started crying, people started become emotionally uplifted, and their happiness index is zoomed up. So basically the point here, it is like a gratitude spikes the happiness. Even we can we can write every day gratitude journal in our everyday before going to bed. I'm thankful, gratitude to my parent or my whatever I read or things like that. It is creates a positive positivity. So just another personal thing, like myself and Rukmo did vacation last week, last month. So you see all these pictures. All these pictures are from the various national parks which we visited. So just Prabhupada mentioned many times about this how the nature works, because in different lectures he mentioned that. But I had some conceptual understanding, but I never experienced that with conviction. But a little story. So wherever we visited, we need to ride all the way to the 9,000 feet or 10,000 feet above the ocean, about the level of ocean. Like when the weather at the surface of ocean, that's a kind of a different weather, hot or something. But when we go all the way to the top of mountains, entirely different. It's a it's a cold, and it's a snowing, and somewhere sometimes sunny, things like that. It is entirely different weather in mountain. And there in the 9,000, 10,000 feet, and they also you have the mountains, and that mountains they add up another, I don't know how many feet high. So basically the point here is that big mountains are breaking the clouds, and that while breaking the clouds, that the rain is falling or snow is coming, and then that it's a the when the rain falls, then the water should flow downstream, right? And with that gravitation force, the rain is falling down in terms of waterfalls with the super current power, super very strong. Like probably if you keep your finger will be chopped, so strong. So this water will fall down, and then this water will have, what is happening, this water is coming down and making a rivers, right? And then the rivers will won't stay one place. Rivers will go from the city to city, and it will goes there eventually until it goes to the ocean's destination. So when the river is flowing, then the farmers take that water and they do the crops, and they grow the food grains and all. That's how we are getting the food on our dining table. And also that water creates the earth, nourishes uh, the groundwater, and also all these living entities, whatnot, animals and this and that, and they will take the they will drink the water, and the trees will grow, and the forest will grow, and the nature will be balanced, and eventually that water goes into the ocean. And then the ocean, when something is struck, something is stale, it will be stale, right? But it's amazing arrangement that ocean has a salt. The salt is great preservative. So salt, the ocean water never becomes stale. And then again with the sun, the water will evaporate and makes as a cloud, and then the cycle starts. The clouds will broken by the mountains. But anyway, so Prabhupada mentioned this in many in various lectures. But what I am trying to say is that um, it is not a human's arrangement. It is a divine arrangement. It's a God's arrangement. It's not something possible, like something manually. So but when you feel that, you feel so much feel gratitude towards the Lord, but by his arrangement. So my realization is that when I was there, then I was just observing the people. So the people naturally very friendly. I mean, like, I don't know who is that person, but they are coming closely, and they go and take the picture from there, and this angle is good, that is angle good, and they're smiling at me. How beautiful, this so stunning landscape. My point is that even though they are consciously or unconsciously don't know about the God, or know or not don't know, but still that gratitude makes their heart melt. There is no designation or anything there. I see the wife and husband, and girlfriend and boyfriend, our mother and kids and all. They are so jovial at that point, at that spot. So that my point is that even though that's kind of impersonal, sounds as impersonal, but the gratitude kind of spikes the happiness. The same way we should be gratitude. We can always feel that gratitude, what we have, what we got, what God provided to us. So that helps us. That makes us humble. You know, uh, just one more little story. So when last March, when this pandemic is outraging, and then it's mostly attacking the people in the um, old age people, right? So this is some story which we shared within our Bhakti Vriksha group also. So the one old person in 90s, so he got discharged because he threw the coronavirus, and then they congratulated him and they gave him the um, bill of ventilator oxygen. Then he started crying. And then the other guy started thinking that, oh, yeah, don't worry, this bill is sounds too much, but it's okay, you can pay in installment. Then that old man said, that 90 years old man, he said that all these 90 years, I just enjoyed this free air, free oxygen provided by the Lord. I did not even express my gratitude. And, he was just broken, heartbroken. Anyway, the point is, we should be very um, gratitude towards what we have, what we are enjoying the as a mother nature providing to us. Gratitude is a seed of love. um, and then the opportunity. So take advantage of the opportunities. Take advantage of this is another ladder, because we always get the opportunities. When you get the opportunity, please use it. you know the Actually, another aspect I can touch upon, the even our problems or sufferings also, or any unfavorable things happens, that's also great opportunities to take the shelter and go more towards the spiritual wisdom. you know um, the more you get hammered, the more you become sharp and shiny. But it does not mean you need to get hammered. But what my point is that there are some sufferings will happen, but there is always a good learning and wisdom we see at the when we see from the spiritual perspective. So we can make best use of um, that whatever problems are happening, as a opportunities to take um, uh, more deep shelter. You know, just call for help, ask for help, call out for help. That there are the people around us who are ready to help, but we are kind of a I can talk about myself. We are kind of a you know bind ourselves in a room, so we don't want to open up. But actually, there are the people who are ready to pray for us if we ask. There are very genuine people there around us. So please always take the advantage of it and call out for help. And it is helpful because the um, the people may think bad or things like that, but that is another form of a sense gratification too, because you are covering yourself. But open up makes you very free, and um, it helps us to grow spiritually, and also take the advantage of seniors, um, because Krishna talks through the devotees, because whatever they speak from the lens of scripture. So when we there is always some new and very wisdom comes out of it. So we need to call out for help. There is nothing wrong. Call out for help. And the patience also is important. um, yes, the patience is a virtue. We see that there's one story, but it is already 8:45. So let me wrap up. And the another thing is the the daily chant, like a GOD, gratitude, opportunity, and the another thing is daily chant. So chant and be happy. That's our Prabhupada said. So it's always the chanting is That is something not a new one. Every religion has some sort of chanting practice. Um, One Prabhupada's story, one in he's talking in Australia, I think. So he said that he, you can, if you know the who is the God, just chant that God's name. So it's like someone said Jehovah or something. So yeah, chant the Jehovah name. So basically, the point here is that the Prabhupada mentioned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and then we can chant the Hare Krishna. But if you know the God in your religion or something, you chant that. Uh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not say you don't chant the other God's name or things like that. Chant the Lord's name anyway. That will purify you. So this is very, very important. That daily chant is very, very important aspect. Not like that's the core thing. Like at least in this current age, that's the only way we can understand the real happiness, and we understand who we really are. And the chanting is for everyone, right? So it's not for a today morning. Actually, I was hearing Namamrita, like a chanting is. Not for only one set of people or only rich people or poor people. No, it's like a hospital is for everyone, whether rich or poor, everyone get disease have to join the office. Chanting is also like that. Chanting is for everyone, no matter, because that's a spiritual aspect, and also it's a for the physical for a we can for a physical wellness we do all the detoxing and then the exercise, yoga, this thing. But even the spiritual well-being, spiritual health is also important, right? Because that's actually that the triangle, the outer aspects works nicely if the inside aspect works perfectly. So the spiritual well-being will be nourished by the chanting the Lord's name every day, consistently. Um, so just a summary. So contacting senses with the sense objects, or we create some speculative our own definition of happiness that is not real happiness. We can discover our real happiness when we discover who we really are. Um, yeah, this. Thank you very much for listening to me very patiently. Um, and then whatever I spoken is coming from our previous acharyas, eventually from Srila Prabhupada. Um, I mean, we know that at least I can talk from myself. We are not there yet. We are not there yet, but uh, we have the. I have the hope this will help because it worked out for all acharyas and all. They proved it. So at least we have this understanding. We have this knowledge, um, and we can work on it, right? We are not at the summit of the mountain, but we are we just started now climbing. We are started our hiking. We can go there somewhere sometime to the summit as a snakes and ladder game also, Vaikunta, back to Amgat. But we are not there yet, but we our journey started. And then we, with hope, with a prayerful mood, and by following the footsteps of our acharyas, we can just climb. And then one day we can reach the summit. That's the so most of the times what happens, we always live in the future that creates us so much havoc and disturbances. But let's come to the reality where I am now, what I need to do. So let me start journey and celebrate that because every step is success. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, and my apologies if I talk something inappropriate. Um, and once again, thank you very much, Ramchandra Prabhuji, for giving this opportunity to talk. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. Thank you for touching the very root of the cause of suffering, where you have made us understand about, like, uh, why we have to make why you have to understand ourself, like, what is the real self, because of which, like, when misunderstanding and the real self, we are all suffering and going through the real, like, thinking the illusion itself as, like, the reality. We all are suffering. And you have really touched on a lot of philosophical points, like, how we have to overcome through this illusory conditions. And I really like the story of the donkey. Patri Prabhu, I think, told, like, in Vrindavan also, many times we can see they put a carrot in the front. I've never seen it, but they generally put it, and the carrot, like, whole day in the morning it's fresh, and the donkey work hard, I'm gonna catch it. And at the night, when the carrot is already with all dirt and, like, already, like, not very palatable, then still the donkey try to enjoy it, and that is our condition. And thank you, thank you for sharing that. And also, like, you also try to mention a lot of deep topic on, like, how the root cause of ignorance is, like, more than the Buddhist philosophy, how being a desireless, more than that is, you pointed out, being having the ignorant desire, like, we really don't know what is good for us, and how Krishna as a Paramatma, like, guide us, Jnana Dipena Bhaswata, like, he can enlighten us. And the last three, I think, topic you really nailed on, like, how we have to be really grateful and understand what Krishna has given to us. I recall Patibu tells that, one who is not grateful, he's a grateful. So I think that's very important, and we have to really utilize the opportunity we got, either suffering or happiness, as you pointed, and utilize the opportunity of chanting the holy name of the Lord. And thank you for wonderfully sharing this. So before question and answer, I would like to request, like, if anyone has, like, any questions, any comments, definitely you can raise your hand. And if you are hesitant to ask, you can type the question to me also. I can help to assist. So I would like to share the upcoming programs and our regular programs we have, so that let me share our regular programs. So you can see my screen, right? You can see the.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see.
Perfect. So we have our everyone can visit our website, ISKCON.Bergen.org. You can get all the details of our all upcoming programs. We keep it up to date. So this coming Wednesday, we have a wonderful speaker, His Grace Jai Gauranga Chandradas. Prabhuji is, like, disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, and he lives in Sri Lanka. So he will be giving a very deep topic and a lot of pastimes, a lot of things from Sri Rangam and Sri Ranganath, and who I really genuinely request devotee not to miss this opportunity to hear about Ranganath Temple. It's a really, really holy place, and a lot of wonderful pastimes have been taken over there. Ramanujacharya, even Lord Chaitanya, has spent good ample amount of time in Ranganath. So definitely to hear. And this coming Sunday, we have a wonderful speaker, His Grace Nirantar Prabhu. So, and it's a special day. Happy Father's Day. So we also get opportunity to celebrate this wonderful Father's Day, which generally, we more emphasize on Mother's Day, but this is really important for all devotees here. And we have a wonderful speaker who will be speaking this coming Sunday, which is June 20th. So, and we have every Thursday, we have regular weekly children's stories. Anybody, you have any kids, or your friends or family, they want to participate, like, most of the ages can join this story time. It's really, really wonderful with the games and the story pastimes. Kids are really enjoying this the story time every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. And we have every Friday, we have Bhakti Vriksha that is going on. So we are going to move on in person for Bhakti Vriksha. If somebody wants to join, you can definitely contact me or Ramchandra Prabhu or Ram Saran Prabhu or some other devotees. And plus, like, the virtual will be still there. Devotee can still connect through it, but we are slowly going on in person. And we have every day, every Sunday school, like, we have every Sunday, we have Sunday school for kids, like, that is going on from age 4 to 16, learning a lot of Vedic knowledge, and it has helped a lot of kids. And you can participate on this. I think this year's session is going to be over soon, and gala is going to be there. I think this 20 this the 27th June. All the kids are going to present their programs, and on Wednesday, also the next Wednesday, the Govinda kid, the elder kids are also going to present their final presentation, what they have learned this entire year. So definitely you don't want to miss that. And so if you have any kids, I think we are also planning to start, I think the Sunday school is also planning to start summer school for kids, teaching alphabets of Hindi, plus Bhagavad Gita recitation for one chapter. They will plan. So if you want to enroll in that, want the kids to join this, definitely it's a very wonderful opportunity to utilize that time. And we have every day, Bhagavad Gita reading at 12 p.m. 12 to 15 minutes, Bhagavad Gita reading every day. So if somebody wants to read Bhagavad Gita sloka with translation, please definitely you can join here. And as we have everyday japa, as Prabhuji also touched with the topic, the daily chant. So we have a daily chanting japa every morning, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. EST. So whoever is interested, please join the japa. There's the same link of our Zoom classes. So most of all our programs are occurs from in the same Zoom, except the kids school. So we have few other announcements, very important announcement coming. So one is that on 26th June, so we are planning to have a picnic. So we will be announcing soon the venue. So book your calendar, the 26th June. So because the July is very packed schedule we have. So 26th June, please again, mark your calendar. We will have a wonderful picnic. We will be announcing venue soon. And on July 18th, again, this is the most important day. We are going to reopen our center. Finally, all the virtual programs going to be in person. We'll also maybe try to keep the virtual intact. Let's see how it's going to go. But we are going to start a center, and we request devotee, whoever can make, please start coming to the center. We are going to start on 18th July, that you can mark the calendar. And very important special days coming, this 21st June, Monday. So this is a very auspicious day, the Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. So everybody knows that, in all the Ekadashis, Bhima, for him, it's very difficult to tolerate his urge of eating because of his Vayu, the strength of his Agni. He cannot take it. So, but Krishna, because he requests Krishna, what can I do? So he requested that if you do fasting this one day in Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi, you get benefit of all the Ekadashi, right? All the Ekadashi in the year, benefit by performing sincerely this one day. So even you have done some kind of mistakes, or by chance you could not do that certain Ekadashi, you forgot, or you ate non-Ekadashi food or something. So this is a day where you can get it resolved, or get it that benefits again. So that's a very, very wonderful day that is coming. And again, and thank you, Ram Saran Prabhu, again for this wonderful class. If anybody has question, again, please raise your hand and put in a comment. I can see Jaydopati Mataji has a question. Please, Jaydopati Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Ram Saran Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Dandvat Pranam to you. Very nice
Mataji,
class.
I need you. I need to do Dandavats to you, Mataji.
Very nice class. Very, very wonderful class. You told so many things through the slides. the one which you showed, the snake and ladder one. Yeah, that was like, thought was coming in my mind, like devotional service. Uh, when we go up, like it happens, like sometimes we come down also, and then those who are determined, they go up. So that I wanted to share, and such a wonderful that class, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Ram Sharan Prabhu, for
Thank you,
giving us
Mataji.
nectar. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Jaydev Mataji, for that comment. And Prabhakar Prabhu, please go ahead for your question. You're muted, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. It was an excellent presentation.
Thank you, Prabhakar Prabhuji.
You know, I could take notes, but I am not fast enough. I should know shorthand, you know, which I used to do it when I was a high school student. My question is that you said you had a trip last week, vacation, and these pictures are from there. Where did you go? And it's very interesting pictures. So can you elaborate on where you have gone there? That's one question. And I have a comment after you answer the question. I have a comment on other thing. So how was your trip?
Yeah, it's a yeah, we can talk more about offline project, but the trip where we went is Colorado Springs and all the national parks in the Utah and the Yellowstone National Park.
Oh yeah,
And
okay.
we can talk more offline. I can, of
Okay.
course, it will give you itinerary, everything.
Okay. So my daughter is taking the whole family into Southwest, you know, next week for 2 weeks. So she probably will go through all these things.
Sure. I did enough research, so I will call you so I can give you
Okay.
whatever I have.
All right. My other question is that comment is that, you know, the donkey is always made a laughing stock, you know. I feel very sorry for the donkey. It does all the work, never complains, but we make fun of them thinking that such a foolish animal, you know. It has a lot of tolerance for people like us making fun of it. I hope it will get a nice place in the heaven. When you compare camel, for example, you can see when sometimes it protests, tries to bite people because it doesn't want to go somewhere. It will sit there. So, but nobody laughs at the camel because it is the sheep of the desert, right? It is the only thing can cross the desert without any problem.
Yeah.
So donkey needs to be specifically, you know, appreciated. They say that it can, instead of carrying the load of thing, that it cannot even walk, or it will continue going. It can drop all the load and eat the grass on the side of the where it's walking. But this, you know, the person who owns the donkey takes all the way and finally gives the handful of grass. So that's all it is. It gets at the end of the trouble. So I feel very sorry. So I just want to express that one. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your comment. Just something came to my mind on the same lines. Yes, you're right. You're so compassionate that I can see that by expressing your um, kindness towards the donkey. Yeah, you're right. But it's one amazing thing is they are doing service in a way that we can understand this complex Vedics with that analogies. So I can see that. So somehow they are doing the service to Krishna in, we can take them as an example to understand the philosophy in a better way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Anybody else has a question? Yeah, Alka Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to
Hare
Srila
Krishna Mataji.
Prabhupada.
Jai.
Yes, your class, I don't know where to begin. Everybody has said something or the other. So I will just focus on that example about, the apple and the mirror. So I think you demonstrated your point so well. I will never forget that example because many times, we complicate our life. We try to, get happiness from the image of the apple. It could be different things. So I thought that was very beautifully demonstrated by your example. Very like it includes everything based on our philosophy. So that was one, and the last part also I liked, where you talked about how do we get to God. So the whole acronym God, the gratitude, the opportunity, and the daily chanting, it was so appropriate. And I didn't take too many notes today because everything that you were talking was so absorbing that I thought if I tried to take notes I would miss your point. So I'm with that on Prabhakar Prabhuji also. It's not so Prabhuji, it's not your speed or anything, it's just that his talk was so absorbing. So thank you, Prabhuji. I have questions, but I will connect with you offline. Mainly my questions are how, and that you don't have to answer now, but how do you get such complex understanding and such deep understanding of these philosophical things which you put out? So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mataji. Yeah, but that just in a single word, our gurus and Srila Prabhupada, uh, they explain so nicely through their books and their lectures. That's it. I'm just instrument to repeat what they said.
Thank you.
Mataji.
Thank you. So anybody else has? We'll take a final question if anybody has. Shraddha Mataji, yeah, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Hare Krishna
wonderful
Mataji.
presentation. I think from start to the end, from your slides to the points that you made, I guess amazing pictures. What an eye for photography. I mean, each and every picture looked like a professional wallpaper. If you would not have mentioned that they were your pictures taken by you, I was really thinking they were, professional photographers' pictures online and used for the presentation. Those phenomenal pictures, phenomenal. I mean, amazing. When you were talking about gratitude, I really don't have a question, but I was just, it just reminded me of something that I heard, that too from a very young aspiring devotee, I can say. She's a very young girl. And she was saying that she maintains the calendar, like she has a table calendar, and every day after her school or before she would go to bed, she goes to her calendar and she recaps the entire day in her head. And she compares how many things went well, how many things did not go well. And if she finds that, yes, some way or the other, her day was fulfilling in terms of nourishing her soul, she puts a check mark on it. So initially, it started with, say, 3 check marks in a week, but the practice kept going on and on and on. And now she's gotten to a point where she finds opportunities or reasons to make sure that she puts a check mark. So now it's turning into her habit of being grateful to people and at least go and say thank you to them, because when she gets the reciprocation, she knows her soul has been nourished. So now from where she started, it's just a matter of accepting that yes, be grateful. And sometimes we feel, oh, I'm an introvert, I don't want to speak it out. I mean, I appreciate, of course, and the person knows that he or she has done a good job. Why to put it in so many words? Words can profane things at times, but really we need to go out and show our gratitude if something has really touched us and it comes back to us, it reciprocates. So I guess that the point that you made was fantastic. It just resonates with what we hear day after day. It's just a matter of absorption, and that's what we need to do. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for driving that point home again. Thank you so much. And wonderful pictures, must say. Amazing pictures. Thank you so much for sharing them.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mother. It's yeah, the one, the 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 second, sometimes this is what I heard from my spiritual master, like a um when we do one thing every day, regularly and very gradually, then that becomes the second nature. So he gave a great analogy. So when we go to forest, we see some paths, right? So all of a sudden it's a full jungle, but we see the paths, some small one-line path, because one person is keep walking, keep walking, or a group of people are walking, and that path will be paved. So so that is one thing when we do, that it applies to the daily chanting. When we do every day, and then that becomes a second nature. That's applies to for everything. Yeah. Thank you very much for bringing it up and connecting.